Hey, you guys, welcome back for another day of our daily practice questions. As always, I like to get into my introduction and disclaimer before starting with our questions or any content. So, for those of you who are familiar with me, hey, y'all. For those of you who are new here, welcome, you guys. I am Dr. Brittany Weinstock. I am a family nurse practitioner, and I am the founder and CEO of the Nursing Studio. I provide resources, tools, courses, videos, to assist nurses as well as nurse practitioners with being successful on boards as well as in practice. I have been providing these tools and resources for nurses and nurse practitioners since 2015 and helping them internationally with board success. And I would love to help you as well. But I always like to get into my disclaimer before I get started, reminding you we know there's no absolutes in medicines. We treat on a patient by patient basis, right? And so, any questions that you see that I am providing, I have created them based on the current guidelines that are being tested on the ANCC as well as the AANP. If I am teaching you guys in these videos about current things that we do in practice and the current guidelines that we are utilizing at that time, I will tell you that so that you're able to differentiate the two and so that there's no confusion, okay? So, with that being said, let's get into our questions for today. So, question number one states a patient presents to the office today for follow up. He denies any complaints at this time. He has a history of heart failure. Upon assessment, the nurse practitioner inquires about the patient's daily activities and if he has any difficulty. The patient denies any shortness of breath, dyspnea on exertion, or any limitations of his physical activities. Based on this information, how should the nurse practitioner classify the patient based on NYHA classification? Is it A, class 1, B, class 2, C, class 3, or D, class 4? Take a moment and tell me what you got in the comments. All right, you guys. Let's get into the stem of the question. I always recommend reading the stem of the question first because it makes you slow down to ensure that you're answering what is even being asked, right? So, this question, the stem of the question is based on this information, how should the nurse practitioner classify the patient based on NYHA classification? So, there's four NYHA classification for heart failure, and it's based on the patient's limitations to physical activity and any shortness of breath will categorize them in those four different classifications. Okay, so here he has the history of heart failure, but he's denying any of those issues. He denies any limitations with physical activity, any shortness of breath, or dyspnea on exertion. So here the answer is A, class 1. As I always tell y'all, just build up when there are ranges. Know the lowest, know the highest of the range. So class 1 and class 4, and the rest fall in between, right? So class 1, there are no symptoms. They don't have any limitations. Whereas with class 4, they have constant limitations. So uh, when they are active and at rest, they're constantly having limitations because of the dyspnea on exertion is so extreme. Because they have the orthopnea, they can't lie flat without being short of breath or feeling as if they're drowning. And so, as it works up, class 1, there's no symptoms, no limitations, right? But they have the history of heart failure. Class 2, they have slight limitations. So, they may say, hey, I get short of breath here or there. Class 3, they have definite limitations with activities. So, hey, if I'm walking to the mailbox, I am getting winded. I notice that I'm getting short of breath. I'm unable to really do that as I used to. And then class 4, anything they do, they're short of breath. They're huffing and puffing, talking to you in the office. When you're asking about how they sleep, they can't lie flat. They're sleeping on two or more pillows, sleeping in a recliner, etc. They have orthopnea, okay? All right, question number 2 for today. A patient presents to the office with complaints of a weak stream when urinating and dribbling. He states that he has the urgency to urinate, but minimal urine is noted even when straining. The nurse practitioner is preparing to complete a digital rectal exam to confirm her differential diagnosis. Based on these findings, what most likely is the diagnosis that the nurse practitioner is trying to confirm? Is it A, prostate cancer, B, benign prostatic hyperplasia, C, urinary tract infection, or D, acute pyelonephritis? Take a moment and tell me what you got in the comments. All right, you guys. Similar question states, based on these findings, what most likely is the diagnosis that the nurse practitioner is trying to confirm? So, if anything is asking us about a diagnosis, we run it back, right? We got to run it back and see what the assessment is because, I always teach on assessment, diagnosis, evaluation, and treatment because this is how I teach. This is how I recommend studying. This is how we practice. This is how we document. This is how they test us. So, know it. So, we're running it back to the assessment. The patient comes in. The subjective finding is that he is complaining of a weak stream when attempting to urinate. He's having dribbling. He states that he has the urgency, but he's having the weak stream even when straining. And so the nurse practitioner is planning to do a digital rectal exam. So instantly you should start to think B, benign prostatic hyperplasia. Remembering, the dribbling, the weak stream are a classic for benign prostatic hyperplasia. But also when they said that she is planning to do a digital rectal exam to confirm, you should have thought benign prostatic hyperplasia, okay? And lastly, question number 3 for today, you guys. All right, the nurse practitioner and NP student are discussing a diagnosis that is secondary to the adrenal gland having insufficient hormone production. Which of the following conditions are they discussing? Is it A, Cushing's disease, B, Addison's disease, C, hyperthyroidism, or D, hyperparathyroidism? Take a moment and tell me what you got in the comments. All right, you guys. Stem of the question states, which of the following conditions are they discussing? And so we're trying to figure out what this defines. Straight uh, knowledge-based questions, and you will see certain things like that. Few, but you will see knowledge-based questions on boards. And so they're discussing a diagnosis that is secondary to the adrenal gland having insufficient hormone production. Is that Cushing's disease? No, because we know with Cushing's disease, they have too much, right? I always say, they're Cush. They're they got like a to me, I think of like we got cushion, we have room because we have too much of it. We're not lacking. You're not insufficient. We have too much, right? And they have too much of the hormone cortisol, right? And that's why they have, they describe it as that moon round phase. They can get that hump, the buffalo hump that they not talk about, the humpback, and then like the purple stretch marks. Whereas with B, Addison's disease, which this is the answer for this, is where they have that insufficient, and they have the insufficiency of the hormones. Um, and what I always say with Addison's is that we need to add it back in so they're insufficient, right? So it's due to the adrenal gland having insufficient hormone production. So they're deficient in that cortisol and aldosterone. And I have a video on all that if you really need to have a clear understanding on that. But here, straightforward understanding those knowledge-based questions, the answer is B, Addison's disease. Remember, Addison's, we need to add back in because we are insufficient in the hormone, okay? Whereas with Cushing's disease, we got a cushion. We are in excess. We have too much of it. We're not lacking anything, okay? But that's all for today, you guys. I hope you found it helpful. And as always, be sure to like, comment, subscribe, and share with whomever you may think may find this beneficial as well. But make sure y'all meet me back here. And if you need any assistance with review material, if you need our review courses, our online self-paced course, our review book, we periodically do our group courses throughout the year. Next one is starting on Monday. So be on the lookout for the next one after that. And then if you're looking for one-on-one sessions to either just tighten up certain areas that you just can't get it down and you just need a little assistance on taking that weakness to a strength, you need a little bit of Brittany's brilliance to help you tie it down so that you can connect the dots and start to repetitively review that to retain it. We do that with one-on-one sessions, or you can get our custom package where we work on your weak areas. We do pre-tests to identify where you need assistance, and we structure your studying and work alongside you so that you can be successful on boards, okay? So if you need any of the services, just reach out to the Nursing Studio. Give us a call at 803-400-6864 or shoot us an email at the nursing studio, the number one, at gmail.com. Our website is in the bio, as well as other additional links for ease of access. But if you need us, let us know. But as always, happy studying. Bye, y'all.